Okay, so I'm going to put you on a loudspeaker on this one. Can you hear me there okay?
I can.
And is it okay to call you Sister Stan? Is that okay?
Yeah, great. Okay. Stan, anything you like.
Thank you. I suppose, as you know, I mean, I'm looking at the first programme. It's coming up to, it's 1971, so it's coming up to 50 years since it was set up in Ireland. And it was the first of its kind. So I suppose I want to kind of ask you, how did you get involved with setting up the programme?
Well, the Kennedy report came out in, was it 1970, I think? You know that, whatever year it came out.
Yep.
It struck a chord with me, and it struck a chord with us in Kilkenny, aware of the situation with regard to child care. And the Kennedy report was a historical point, which was the first study. There was a Turin report done earlier, but that was the first. So that interested me. Okay. At the time, I was on the Council of Social Welfare, which was an Episcopal council set up by the bishops of Ireland. And that council's job was to look at social issues in Ireland today. I was in social services, and I was director of the social services as well. The Kennedy report really identified the need for training for childcare workers. There was no such training. So, having looked at it, we decided, it was a big commission, there was a lot of people on it. I think you'll be able to find that somewhere, the talks that emerged from it. Anyway, the outcome of that was we decided to have a conference in Killarney on childcare.
Okay. And
at that conference, I spoke about childcare. I don't know what I spoke about, something like that. Yeah. Childcare, and I identified the need for training. And of course, there was a huge positive response to the whole idea of having training, because a lot of the people working at the time were religious, and and even though some of them had employed lay people, and some orders had sent, like my own, they had sent some sisters to the UK to train, a small number of them. So, but there was no training in Ireland. So, the outcome of that conference in Killarney was that they said, there is a need for training, we should do something about it. So I immediately set about, Bishop Birch was the bishop in Kilkenny, and I set about designing such a course. I talked to the bishop about it, and I designed it in a way that included the things you have down about this. It included this, that, and the other. And you've already talked to Pat Brennan, so I needn't go into that with you. But you did, and I drew on my own experience, having trained. I did social science in Dublin, and I went to Manchester to do my postgrad, and that was in childcare and youth work. So I drew on my own experience, as well as looking at the courses, some of the courses that were in the UK. Okay. And out of that, I designed a possible course.
Okay.
And I went to the bishop with it, and we went to the Department of Education with it, because they were the department that was dealing with childcare at the time, and they had been at the council. And so they said, fine, very good, this is fine, this is great. Go ahead. We looked for a grant for, I forget, I don't remember the amount of money, but that's available too. And they said, okay. And we then went to look for somebody who would direct it, who would be the director. And we found Pat Brennan, and Pat Brennan became the director. Which a lot of the groundwork was done by the time he came on board. We had got the premises, and I think we started to get in touch with the various childcare institutions.
Okay.
And there was huge enthusiasm for it.
Yeah. Can I ask you, why did you select Pat? Like, was there a reason behind Pat being asked?
I knew Pat in the past. He ran the youth centre he was a priest once.
That's right.
But he ran a centre for youth it was in Chiswick, I forget where it was outside London. And I remember when I was a student, I went over there for kind of a short placement, and I was really impressed with how he worked with youth. He really worked really well with them. And when I went to Manchester to do my postgrad, he was there doing a master's in something, I forget what.
Yeah.
And so I knew him. And I knew also that he would be available because he was doing this course. So that's how it happened.
Okay, very good.
So we got him on board. And then I think we wrote, or maybe I'd written already to the various institutions, and they put forward people for the course. We had an application form for people who wanted to do the course. And so people applied, and we just did a whole series of interviews. And we kind of linked it. We got the universities on board. That was the other thing, because I had strong links with UCD and indeed Trinity too. But when the designing the course, I consulted with them, the social science departments, and they, made a contribution to it in the sense of adding or taking from it.
Yeah.
So when we were doing the interviews, and we involved them in the interviews.
Okay.
Pat Brennan and myself, and always somebody from the university.
And did the two of you come together with your program? Like, how did you influence the program content? And so was it a joined up then together with, putting it together as well?
Initially, I did all of it, practically, in consultation with UCD and Trinity, and even Cork UCD. And it was important to get them on side, because later when we ran the course, they lectured at some of it, and they were very supportive of it. And later, I don't know what point, we went to London. It must have been early. I went to London with the bishop, and we went to the institute, or whatever it was, that give professional recognition to courses, to for example, to the social workers in Ireland.
Yep.
It wasn't an authority in Ireland then.
That's right.
It was recognised, but whatever it was,
it's in the notes, yeah.
So the bishop and I went over to them, and they were very interested, and so they gave their imprimatur. So that was all kind of, I had moved ahead. Maybe I'm not remembering chronology very well, but
that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it was really, I suppose it was really good in the sense of it wasn't just a little bit of a course in Kilkenny. It was one that was recognised by the universities, and was also recognised by the training course.
Council in England. Yeah.
The content of it, I had done out in general terms, before we got those on board or with the universities. So that was done out, that was more or less together.
Okay.
And and then Pat Brennan came, and he added what he was going to do, which was really, I suppose, you'd call it philosophy in education. It was that kind of a part to the course. He'd have talked to you anyway about that.
Yeah. It's kind of group work. He really focused in on the group work side of things.
He did group work. He did that, and he did that very well. But he also had a kind of a philosophical approach to things, having come from his own background.
Yeah.
So he would have, he would have influenced the course that way,
Yes.
But I was very much coming with a sense of social history.
Yeah.
And because I'd done history as an undergraduate and as a postgraduate, so social history and childcare.
Okay.
And that was.
So
yeah.
would you say the core subjects were like the childcare, group work, religion, and psychology? Would it kind of comes from the data that those four were the core subjects? Would that be?
I suppose social history would have been important.
Okay.
Say them again. What you?
So group work, childcare concepts and practice, religion, and psychology.
Yeah, and social history would have been